Matthew Bezdicek from the NuWay Agronomy team, back with Isaac Anderson from WinField United, talking again about short corn. And the most noticeable thing about it is that it is shorter. And Isaac, fill me in. So we're losing shortness. We're guessing it's coming from the stalk because these still look like leafy plants. So fill us in a little bit about what's not here that we're used to with our normal plants.
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal of this breeding program is purely stock reduction. We do not want to lose any of our leaf area or leaf index like we mentioned in the other video. So the current hybrids we plant are 9 to 12 feet tall. This next generation is going to target 7, 8, maybe 9 feet tall. So when we think about stock reduction, Matt, that's about 2 feet of stock less per plant. If we're planting 32,000 plants per acre, that's 64,000 feet of stock per acre. To convert that over, that's 12 miles of stock we won't have to manage. And when we think about managing that, one of the big ones is the plant residue, right? And nitrogen is our biggest nutrient to break that down in the soil. And we know the stalks take the longest to break down. So some interesting management that will come with reducing that stock.
Yeah, that could lead us to potentially different tillage practices. I mean, that's one thing that a lot of people talk about is, God, I gotta run a special corn head, or I gotta run a special disc to try and size my residue enough to break it up, and then I gotta go through with big tillage to try and bury it to make our Minnesota soils warm up in the spring.
Yeah.
You know, if we have less stalk out there, that will be less residue that maybe we can get by better with strip till, maybe we can get by better with minimal till. It seems like the industry is trying to gravitate that way, so that'll be a very interesting development that we'll have to stay tuned on to see if that's one of the success points of this type of a product.
Yep.
And when you're talking about nitrogen now, explain that a little bit more now in the plant as not needing as much in the stalk. You know, where are we going to utilize that nitrogen then potentially?
Absolutely. So the goal of this next generation is to make that nitrogen more efficient in the plant. So not using that nitrogen to build up that stalk strength and the stalk size, we can now use that nitrogen in the plant and convert that into quality grain, because starch content is what you guys get paid on, the weight of your grain. And starch content is driven by good nitrogen late in the season. So that will help with our efficiencies.
Perfect. The other thing is potentially a fungicide management. A lot of guys don't like hiring a airplane or a chopper to do it. Not everyone has high clearance machines. This corn looks like a lot of sprayers could potentially go through this. So explain a little bit on fungicides and why we may see even a better response on products like this.
Yeah, so these plants should be much more accessible late in the season for fungicide, insecticide, micronutrient. And the biggest piece there is, like I've said, we're trying to maintain the same amount of leaf index as our current corn hybrids. And at 12-foot tall corn, it's tough even with the best adjuvants to cover deep into the canopy. But now at this shorter height, we can cover leaves late into the season, down the canopy, hold on to those leaves later, and help remobilize that energy into the ear at the end of the season.
God, this will be fun as we move forward. We'll get to learn about all these management practices and hopefully put our best foot forward for you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.